worksheets we will be creating throughout the project. So to do that, you'll double click here on the bottom tab where it says sheet 1, and then you will rename the sheet as sales by month and click OK. One common type of chart is the line chart, which represents the data points with a line connecting them. This type of chart is normally used when a possible trend exists among the data points. So for example, sales increasing throughout the year as a company grows. We can represent this data as a line chart, which could allow us to see if there's a trend or maybe a season of the year where the sales are higher. Before we create the chart, we want to format the numbers correctly to show that they are currency or US dollars. To do this, you will highlight the cells with the values, and then where it says general in the ribbon, you will select this as currency. And since these numbers are pretty large, we can also decide to remove the 2 decimal places in the value. And you can do this by clicking on the decrease decimal icon on the ribbon, and you'll do this twice. Great, well now that you've formatted the values as US dollars, the next step will be creating the line chart. You'll first select the data from cell A3 to cell B50. And in the ribbon, you will select Insert, and then you will click on the line icon for the chart. Great, well you've just created the first chart that will be part of the dashboard. But just as important as it is to select the correct type of chart, it's also important to format the chart correctly so that it is easy to interpret by anyone who will be analyzing the chart. You can see, for example, that the current title for this chart is total. And for anyone looking at it for the first time, this title isn't very descriptive of what's being represented. So the title could be changed to sales by month, for example. To change the title, you will first right-click on the chart and then select Format. And then in this menu that appears on the right side of the screen, we'll have several formatting options for the chart. To change the name of the title, you will click on Chart Title, and then you'll type Sales by Month where it initially said Total. Great, well now let's see what other things can be formatted. The horizontal axis looks fine since it lists the names of the months, and since we have a 3-letter abbreviation for each month, these are easily interpreted. As for the vertical axis stating the amount earned in sales, we could probably change the minimum bound to $500 since all months had more than $500 in sales. To do that, you would go into vertical axis, and then you would change the minimum bound from 0 to 500 and press enter. You can see that by changing the lower bound to $500, the data points extend across a larger portion of the vertical axis. And for this chart, we could also remove the legend since it just states total and it's not really necessary for interpreting the chart correctly. To remove the label for the legend, you will deselect the chart element next to legend in this menu on the right. And you can see that now that legend has been removed. Great. I think